Hurricane Francine makes landfall as a Category 2 storm.
The Crossroads honors 9/11 victims and gathers first responders ahead of Hurricane Francine.
And the DeWitt Lavaca County Democratic Women's Club came together today to discuss their plan to better the Crossroads.
We will have the latest on Francine. It's now on land, so it's begun to weaken. Nonetheless, it's raining like cats and dogs throughout much of southeastern Louisiana. We'll have all that and your forecast coming up in a moment.
And the St. Joseph Flyers, they're ready for a massive game versus Rose Hill Christian this Friday night. It's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Shauna Curry.
El Campo police arrested a 48-year-old man Monday. Gumecindo Avila Ontiveros of El Campo is charged with sex abuse of a child, continuous violence under the age of 14. He is in the Wharton County Jail in lieu of $250,000 bond.
A Victoria East High School student has been arrested accused of making a threat against the school campus. The student reportedly sent the threatening message through social media. An investigation started this morning when the school resource officer was made aware of it. Officials say the student was not on campus this morning. They were able to locate him at a residence. The student was arrested for terroristic threats and taken to the Victoria County Juvenile Detention Center.
Victoria County deputies arrested a 26-year-old man Tuesday. Elijah Lasario of Victoria is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $50,000 bond.
Goliad's finance officer has been fired less than a month into her new role. The Goliad Advance Guard reports that Goliad City Council members unanimously voted to fire Amy Reynolds during Tuesday night's council meeting, saying it's due to lack of confidence. Reynolds was unanimously approved by the council at the end of July for this position and started as Goliad's finance officer on August 15th.
Wharton County deputies arrested a 39-year-old man today. Manny Gaona of El Campo faces charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon. He is in the Wharton County Jail in lieu of $90,000 bond.
Well, the Crossroads pauses to honor the lives lost in the 9/11 terror attacks 23 years ago. The Victoria Fire Department organized the event, which was also attended by several first responders from communities including Round Rock and Helotes. They were in Victoria as part of the disaster declaration ahead of Hurricane Francine's landfall. Victoria Fire Chief George Gomez reflects on when he went to New York to help first responders there just a week after the attacks.
Looking firsthand, ground zero, my mind could not comprehend what my eyes were seeing, the mass destruction. Talking to the New York firefighters, and amidst all that chaos, how firefighters were calling home, leaving voice messages to their loved ones, or writing notes to their loved ones and leaving it in lockers in hopes that they would find it.
The Victoria the Victoria Police Chief, the Victoria Mayor, and the Victoria County Sheriff all gave remarks during the memorial service. Moments of silence were observed during the playing of the dispatch calls for each tower that was attacked. And North Texans paused to honor the victims and families impacted by 9/11 on this Patriots Day. They rang the bell, symbolizing the final alarm call for first responders who rushed to the Twin Towers in New York City on that day. The event took place at the 9/11 Flight Crew Memorial near the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. The memorial is dedicated to the 33 flight crew members who died that day.
We do not run, we do not falter, we do not fail. Americans run to the sound of gunfire. America has been and continues to be the shining beacon on the hill and is the greatest country this world has ever known. May God continue to bless America. Thank you.
The memorial was built near the American Airlines headquarters. 2 American Airlines planes were among the 4 planes hijacked on 9/11.
Hurricane Francine slammed into Louisiana as a dangerous Category 2 storm. It knocked out power to more than 150,000 customers and threatened a large stretch of the Gulf Coast with flooding and destructive winds. We have some video for you. The National Hurricane Center says Francine drew strength from exceedingly warm Gulf waters before it roared ashore with nearly 100-mile-an-hour winds on Wednesday afternoon, threatening a potentially deadly storm surge. Let's take a first look at your forecast. First Warren Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis has the latest. Mac?
Thank you very much, Don. Yes, the storm came ashore right at about 4 o'clock this morning is when the eye wall made contact with the land. The center is right about here, but you can see the bulk of the heaviest rain is just to the north of the center, passing over New Orleans and, of course, the major metropolitan areas. It came ashore during, in the marshy areas, the bayous, and that helped slow it down. So it's now down to about 65 to 70 miles an hour and will decrease. But boy, is it raining cats and dogs in New Orleans. We'll talk more about that and what you can expect for the rest of the week coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Well, again, Francine barreled into Louisiana tonight as a Category 2 hurricane, crashing into fragile coastal regions that really haven't fully recovered from a series of devastating hurricanes in 2020 and 2021.
Tonight, Hurricane Francine making landfall this evening and taking aim at Louisiana, strengthening and upgraded to a Category 2 hurricane right before it came ashore, with winds up to 100 miles an hour. Roads quickly flooding in Dulac, Louisiana. Some areas bracing for up to 10 feet of storm surge. ABC's Matt Rivers on the coast in Houma, Louisiana, when Francine made landfall.
This hurricane coming ashore as we speak, and we are in the eye wall, the most intense part of this storm, with winds up to 100 miles an hour. The threat of power outages increasing by the minute.
Just overwhelmed, scared.
Even though you've been through storms before?
I still feel the same way every time a storm comes.
A state of emergency in effect. Louisiana activating more than 2,000 National Guard troops and warning residents.
The time to evacuate has now passed. It is the time to go to ground and hunker down.
Here in flood-prone New Orleans, officials say they're confident the pump system that keeps water out of the city will do its job. The threat of tornadoes increasing on the dirty side of the storm as it barrels inland. Once over land, Francine quickly falling apart.
It's not going to be a good night to be driving on the roads.
Francine now set to soak Mississippi through the night with the same rain it brought to Louisiana. Ike Ajachi, ABC News, New Orleans.
Victoria police arrested a 40-year-old man Tuesday. Gilbert Garza of Victoria is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $50,000 bond. With the elections coming up, there is a Democratic Party meet and greet the candidates in the Crossroads Wednesday night. The DeWitt-Lavaca County Democratic Women's Club hosted several candidates. They included Stephanie Basham, candidate for Texas House District 30, and Tanya Lloyd, candidate for U.S. Representative District 27. Basham talked about her focus on getting to know the community and what is important to those she would represent if elected. Lloyd talked about her focus on strengthening public education.
This will be my first time running for office. It is my first time running for office. So my plan is to, make sure that the Democrats who've elected me and the Republicans who have decided to cross over because I'm the better candidate, that I represent them well in Austin for the needs of my community.
Our plans going forward would be to really strengthen our public education through congressional budgets for CTE programs, bilingual special education programs, free lunch and breakfast programs, really strengthen those.
Basham will face off against Republican challenger A.J. Louderback for the state seat, while Lloyd is running against incumbent Michael Cloud in the U.S. congressional race. Victoria County deputies arrested a 43-year-old woman today. Kelly Alexander of Victoria is charged with injury to a child, elderly, or disabled person with intent for bodily injury. She's in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $50,000 bond.
The Texas Department of Transportation is warning toll road customers about an increase in phishing scams. We're not talking about the rod and reel phishing, PH phishing here.
Yes.
Targeting text tag users. The scams are using fraudulent text messages to try to lure them in. TxDOT urges customers to be cautious and to report any suspicious messages that they receive. To read the full article, visit our website, crossroadstoday.com.
Here's some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. A new tax rate was adopted by Calhoun County Commissioners Court, and Sheriff Bobby Vickery reminds the county of golf cart safety and county laws. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then where can we see Crossroads Today?
Maybe YouTube?
That's right. Very good. All right, stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10. What's next for presidential nominees after their first and possibly only debate? Also, Taylor Swift shares her endorsement for Kamala Harris following the presidential debate.
A school shooter want their client separated from the general jail population. The father is being held without bond in the Burrough County Detention Center, accused of giving his son the weapon that was used in the shooting. His attorneys say media coverage has led to threats against him. The father faces 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of child cruelty stemming from the September 4th shooting in Winder, Georgia. The teen is in Georgia's juvenile justice system and is being kept away from other youth.
Singer Taylor Swift has endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris in the race for president. The announcement came just moments following Harris's debate with former President Donald Trump. In her post on social media, Swift called Harris a, quote, steady-handed, gifted leader, unquote. The Grammy-winning artist went on to sign her post, quote, childless cat lady, unquote, a reference to language used by Trump's running mate J.D. Vance to describe women who do not have children. Her endorsement, which was posted to Instagram, gained 3.3 million likes in about an hour. Tuesday night was the first and potentially only head-to-head debate between Vice President Harris and former President Trump, giving voters the opportunity to hear directly from the candidates.
And while this debate covered policy points from both candidates, their attacks on each other took center stage.
An historic first meeting between former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris may have started with a handshake.
Kamala Harris, let's have a good debate.
Nice to see you. Have fun.
Thank you.
But the gloves quickly came off.
What we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess.
She doesn't have a plan.
Harris drawing contrast with Trump by framing herself as an advocate for the middle class and framing her opponent as in it only for himself.
Donald Trump has no plan for you.
While Trump attempted to tie Harris to President Joe Biden's record,
The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done.
in a wide-ranging debate, the two clashed over a number of critical issues, from reproductive rights.
We did something that everybody said couldn't be done, and now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade.
To immigration and border security.
Why hasn't she done it? They've had 3.5 years to fix the border.
What we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
To their visions of and for the country.
We all have so much more in common than what separates us, and we can chart a new way forward.
Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation, and it happened 3.5 years ago.
And this brings us to tonight's viewer poll. Should there be another debate between the candidates, former President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris? Yes or no? So 65% of you feel that there should be another debate. Let them voice their opinion and see, where they are on different policies and whatnot. 35% say no. So, I think the yes went up a little bit from the 6 o'clock.
Actually, the yes went up by 5 percentage points since about 5 minutes till 10.
Wow.
Yeah, I had written it down at 60%, now 65%.
Yeah. So at least people here in the Crossroads want to hear more from them before Election Day.
We shall see.
So, well, thank you for voting.
Inspectors warned of major deficiencies at a Virginia Boar's Head plant 2 years before deli meat linked to a deadly Listeria outbreak was recalled. USDA reports from September 2022 identified problems like rusty equipment and dripping condensation that could pose an imminent threat, in their words. Previous reports showed 69 non-compliances, including insects, mold, and what they called a rancid smell. Boar's Head has not responded. The plant's operations have been paused for cleaning. The CDC reports 57 hospitalizations and 9 deaths.
Well, if your insurance charges you for a routine medical procedure, you may have options. Zareen Shaw explains.
A new Commonwealth Fund survey found that nearly 45% of adults in the United States face medical bills for services they thought their insurance would cover. The survey also found that when someone questioned their bill, they were successful at reducing or eliminating it about 40% of the time. Among those who reported billing errors or coverage denials, fewer than half challenged them, mostly because they weren't aware that they had the right to do so. Medicare recipients had 61% of their bills reduced or eliminated after challenging them, while 46% of Medicaid beneficiaries achieved the same result. Insurers weren't just charging extra for routine procedures either. 17% of people were denied for medical care that was recommended by their doctor, delaying their care. Half of those who were denied care and challenged their insurance company ultimately got their treatment approved. With this Medical Minute, I'm Zoreen Shah in Los Angeles.
A life-changing surgery for a 7-year-old boy from Las Vegas. This is Carter, and he suffers from 2 rare skin conditions that left him unable to close his eyes. Well, on Monday, Carter underwent the transformative eyelid procedure at the University of California, San Diego. The boy's parents say he won't be able to see for about a week, but doctors do believe that the surgery went well and will be a success. More than $40,000 was donated to the family's GoFundMe page to help with the medical expenses. And here are some of the top headlines that you can read in the Cuero Record. Judicial candidates gather for a meet and greet. We talked about that a little bit earlier, so they'll have that in the Cuero Record as well. And city water, sewer, they have urgent repairs. Plus, Yorktown faces possible water rationing. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com.
Well, good evening, everybody. Obviously, the big story is Francine. Francine is now on land. It's now going to spread heavy rain throughout the southeast. Notice that hard did drop over Texas. We didn't get much of anything out of the storm. We'll be talking about what you can expect for the rest of the work week coming up in just a moment.
Well, a woman in Nashville had a life-changing encounter with legendary rocker Jon Bon Jovi.
Wow.
We're not talking about seeing him in concert or anything like that. Listen to this. According to reports, Bon Jovi was on the pedestrian bridge in Nashville for a shoot when he approached a woman who appeared to be getting ready to end her life by jumping off the bridge.
Wow.
Both the Nashville Fire Department and the Metro Nashville Police Department responded to the scene. But Bon Jovi, if you're not familiar with him, is a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame solo artist and the frontman for the Bon Jovi band. Now, he reportedly spoke with the woman and managed to convince her to come off the ledge and ultimately saved her life.
Wow.
Incredible.
Wonder if he told her, keep the faith. A gift from the heart, as students from a Northern Virginia high school surprised their custodian with something he always wanted. A new Jeep. Students at James Madison High School befriended their custodian, Francis, last year and asked what he wanted for his birthday. He said a Jeep Wrangler. The boys set up a GoFundMe, and with the community's generosity, they raised $20,000. An emotional moment as Francis hugged his friends and saw his new ride.
And the custodians are some of the hardest working people in a school. So, you know,
instead of having 2 kids, you got 2,000 kids to watch after.
And these students raised $20,000.
That's pretty amazing.
That's
a lot of money.
Well, what's the latest now on Francine?
Well, Francine's not a problem for Texas, that's for sure. It's all over Louisiana, and then by tomorrow it'll be in Mississippi. We, of course, are on the beneficiaries of all this because we're getting the dry north wind behind the storm. Beautiful day tomorrow. Enjoy it with low humidities and nice sunshine. We'll get up to about the low 90s, and we'll actually all the way through the weekend. We've got some nice weather with a little bit of shower activity probably early next week.
All right, well, gamers across the country, I may know one that lives in my house, possibly.
Really?
But tomorrow is your day to compete. September 12th is National Video Games Day. From virtual reality to PC games to handheld devices, mobile games, you have lots to choose from. The industry is always innovating, adding features like hyper-real 3D and ultra-high definition graphics. Among the most popular games these days are Call of Duty, Minecraft, Fortnite, and Grand Theft Auto. I've heard all about those. But if you're a beginner gamer, it's a perfect day for you to try it out too and, you know, get introduced to it. So,
so tomorrow, We are on like Donkey Kong, okay?
I was going to say, I played almost all those games you mentioned. I played, again, NCAA football. That's already out now.
Can we go back to Pac-Man, like Atari?
I'm still on Pong.
Thanks for joining us. 25 News Now at 10, sunrise at 5 a.m.